Hi, everybody. I'm Justin McElroy, editor at large.
You're not the managing editor
Not
anymore.
the managing
You've been
editor
dethroned.
anymore. I've been dethroned of Polygon.com. I'm joined by my brother and colleague, Griffin McElroy, and we're here talking with Tony Hawk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Hello, Tony.
Hello, hello.
So here's my question. There have been a lot of Tony Hawk games in between Tony Hawk 4 and 5. Why is this the right time for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5? Why the 5 now?
Well, it's really a reboot of the original series, so that type of gameplay, those type of challenges, and we felt like it was time because the newer consoles have an established base, and we can bring the feel of what made our series popular in the first place to the whole new generation.
Did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD remake that came out sort of set the stage for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5? Is this running on sort of the same engine as that?
Did it set the stage? I don't think it did, to be honest. I mean, I feel like that was really more the levels, like that was just bringing the old game into HD. Mm-hmm. This is a whole new take on it. I mean, not a whole new take on the control mechanisms, but new maps and a whole new online element of ways that you can create parks and share them and have up to 20 people playing your park across the world. I feel like we're building a community for the game.
You talked about the control mechanics, and I've heard you talk about that a little bit for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, how that's the most important thing that you wanted to sort of make sure got maintained in this new game. What is it that characterizes those mechanics? Because I've always thought of Tony Hawk games being the more arcadey version of skating games, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is THPS. So we accept that and embrace it. And so I just want to make sure that it feels the same when you're doing combos, and you're going into triangle grinds or flip tricks and whatnot, that it still feels the same as the original THPS. That's my concern. Not that we're trying to reinvent the wheel at all.
It's funny you mentioned like community, and one of the things that really sticks with me about the original games, like all the way back on the PlayStation, is like more than a lot of games of that era, there was a community vibe just to like playing Tony Hawk games. Like it would be the sort of thing that you'd invite your buddies around, you'd turn the PlayStation upside down because it had stopped working, and you'd all play. Like, how do you kind of bring that into online, using the online modes? How do you keep that community spirit?
Well, I think that it's very much alive in terms of how you interact with people across the world now. I mean, just the online play of other games has come so far that we want to be part of that. We wanted to build our community around the game. So it's not so much about bringing your friends over to your house, but playing with your friends from their own homes. Just the way people do it with Call of Duty, Destiny, everything else.
Sure. How does is customization an important factor this time around? That's been some of my favorite memories of playing Tony Hawk games. Is making my own parks and having my own sort of story in the underground games. Is that going to be a factor in Pro Skater 5?
Most definitely in terms of the park editor, that is very expansive on how you can make your own levels and things. We do have customizable features for the skaters, but that's not as in depth as say the previous games, because we really want it to be more about how you make these levels and share them.
Tony, what's your relationship like on these games? Sort of, how do you, as somebody who has done this, for so long and skated and has so much experience, like, how do you translate that into the game? How do you, like, as a professional skater, know when to take a step back and say, okay, this may not be the most authentic thing, but it makes the game more fun, like, and trust the game developers?
I just trust my intuition from a skater's perspective and someone who played video games growing up. So it's more, is it a gut feeling? Is this fun or is this cheesy? There's a fine line.
How is the relationship different? You've been working with RoboMoto on the past few Tony Hawk games. How is that different from the relationships you've had with other developers throughout the lifetime of this franchise?
Well, my relationship with Neversoft was much longer, obviously, and we started with a very steep learning curve of teaching them about skating and teaching them about what is authentic and what would be acceptable. RoboMoto got that; they understood that sooner because they already had experience
the already
series. So that's, it wasn't like I had to get in a crash course in skating. At the same time, now the technology is such that I can just download the latest build and play it immediately. and give them immediate feedback. Whereas it used to be, I'd wait for a disc to arrive in the mail, and try to give notes and stuff like that, and then they would be implemented weeks later.
Oh yeah.
Is the mainstream sort of like skateboard enthusiast audience different today than it was when Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 came out? Like, sorry about that. Is it a different crowd of people that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 is going out to compared to the first game?
I think, well, I don't know if it's a different crowd. It's a new generation of gamers for sure that have grown up with other skate games as well, so they know different control schemes. But I think that it's more nowadays. There's more of a hobbyist attitude towards skating. There are plenty of people that skate for fun sometimes, but that's not their whole life. And when we were, especially in the heyday of our game, the people that skated, that's all they did. And I think it's great. It shows how far skating has come, and it's an acceptable form of exercise. It's an acceptable, something that parents encourage their kids to do, and the whole landscape of skating has changed. So the video game reflects that.
This is the first Tony Hawk game built from the ground up for this generation of consoles. How do you feel like it stacks up visually to some of the other games that have been released already this generation? And is that something that's as important to the Tony Hawk series?
Well, we're not going for photorealistic. You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to be creeping around caves and things like that. It's more arcade. So, the focus wasn't so much on that as how it feels when you play it when you're in motion. And I know people have those criticisms with whatever screenshots they've seen and such, but when you actually see it in motion, you see it in play, it feels like the original series, but it feels way more high res.
Okay, gun to your head, if I had to ask you to pick your favorite Tony Hawk game, what would it be?
And don't say Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5.
Don't say Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. It's not out yet.
Well, that remains to be seen, but probably number 2.
Okay,
because
that's a good answer. I'll accept that.
I think it's on the map of being a franchise and being a video game genre. And we learned a lot from the first game, and we implemented those things into the second game. And I feel like between the soundtrack and the levels and what that did for skateboarding, that would be my favorite.
Are you surprised that it's not a bigger genre? Because when I think about skateboarding games, it's you guys and it's skate, and that's all I can think of off the Skate or Die, I guess.
Faster Skate or Die, yeah.
Yeah, that's what was a while ago. Are you surprised it's not a bigger thing?
I'm surprised it became a genre at all. So there's no way I can complain about what happened. You know what I mean? Like, I can't sit there going like, we should have more skating support. Like, I believe that our game helps put skating on the map in the mainstream collective. So I'm happy that we're still here. What can I say? I'm back at E3. It's amazing.
Awesome. Tony Hawk, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for watching. I'm Justin McElroy. This is Griffin McElroy. We'll have a lot more for you right here on Polygon.com.